these things, they actually starve for air. You find that it won't rev out properly, so it gets about 3 grand and starts stalling.
Yeah, I noticed that just driving around, it's doing that, yeah.
Window down, you can hear the hissing noise. Yeah, so starving for air. With the snorkel top popped off in the dyno, before we did any other modifications, we picked up 2 kilowatts of rear wheels, which is probably equivalent to 6 to 8 kilowatts flywheel. So that will give you an idea how you've got a couple of choices with snorkel tops. You can have the lower one, doesn't sit up as high. Then you've got the Safari one, the new one, which is more streamlined. Okay.
Right.
And we can run an adapter, so we flick the standard one off, 2 12mm bolts loosened off, the adapter goes in, and then we fit that on and set it up. This one here will actually work, catch more air and push more air in.
I was going to ask you, what's the difference in these? Is it more efficient than this one?
This one is better from what we've seen, but this one here, if you've got a garage or something you want to keep a little bit lower, that's better than that, so it's better than nothing. Everyone asks about water with the ram ears. All your water outlets are here, so when it's on the car like that, any heavy rain and that, it follows down the sides in these little catchment areas, and the water comes out, so you don't have any problems with a gut full of water in the motor. It'll definitely be under We've got the snorkel top. When we did this, we increased the power at the rear wheels just by taking the standard factory top off, and on the dyno and a 4th gear, what we call a 4th gear run, it achieved 5 kilowatts just by lifting the standard top off. The reason being is the snorkel top was designed, came out on the 75 series, 6-cylinder, normally aspirated, must be 20 years ago. Doesn't need anywhere near the amount of air that this V8 turbo diesel engine requires. Hence, when we lifted this off, that's why the particular vehicle made so much more power, because it could get some air into the engine. So always air in, exhaust gas out is the best formula to get a power upgrade, whether it's a diesel or a petrol vehicle. Obviously, when we took this top off, we were still running the standard system. So that 5 kilowatts is still going through a small exhaust system. When we pushed it on, to get more air out, we would get more improvement again. So the first procedure we recommend is to get the snorkel top off. We contribute the big oil consumption problem that this engine has to it starving for air. You'll notice when you're driving the vehicle, window down, you hear this horrible, annoying hissing noise, and everyone tells me that's the air getting drawn into the snorkel. It's not. It's the actual air. It's the hissing because it can't draw the air in. A simple test you could do at home is run up the road, watch your rev counter, watch when it gets to 3 grand and it starts stalling and it won't pull through that 3 grand happily. Go back home, undo the 2 12mm bolts, release the top by pulling it out, do them back up, and do that same run again, and you'll see a huge difference in the way the vehicle performs. Vehicles that we've done in the early stages, like this particular vehicle 5,000 k's on, this vehicle, when we dipped it, the oil level's down. So consequently, getting onto it in the early stages is going to help tremendously in reducing the oil consumption. So the sooner you can get the snorkel top on to let some air into it, the faster the improvement will be on your oil consumption. Choices are this round ear snorkel top, is a lot sleeker, a lot lower. Okay, that's one option you've got. It's not my preferred option, but it's definitely better than that standard option there. What I do like is the more open, more upright. This particular one is Taree Snorkel top. It's the new one, new improved design, where it's actually all streamlined. It's not so boxy in the back, so obviously that helps with airflow. We do an adapter, so you can just lift that off, slide that in its place, put the snorkel top on, bring it down to the bottom, clamp it on, and you'll be away laughing. So consequently, more air in with everything we're doing will improve fuel economy and obviously help with that oil consumption problem we think is occurring because of the lack of critical thing with these is that they definitely need a catch can on them, and I'll show you why. So yeah, we'll pop the bonnet, start it up. So this is obviously where all the crankcase pressure fumes and vapours. So best recommendation is pull big heavy loads, redline it every now and again, make it work, and stop it blazing up so it should seal up better in the rings and lessen the problem of the oil consumption. Okay, so what we do to help eliminate all the oil getting into the air intake here and possibly causing some trouble with the airflow meter is to put a catch can on there, and already you've got your dual battery set up. So obviously it's very hard to find somewhere to put a catch can. So what we've done is we've actually put on the chassis rail down here. Yep, so then basically that right there goes into here, feeds the oil down to the bottom of the can, and then all the fumes and vapours get trapped by the gauze that's in here, has a baffle plate, and then we plumb it back into the air intake. So basically around here, if you want to come around and have a look, we slip it up on the chassis rail here.
Alright, yep.
And she's bolted up there. And then obviously your sight screen, you can have a look every now and again, and your tap's an easy place there to drain out. So you can just put a little plastic container underneath it and grab the oil.
So that's what's needed with that, is it? You drain it every so often, or check it?
Keep an eye on the sight screen.
So it'll tell you if it's got oil there.
Yeah, if it's starting to accumulate it,
drop it out.
Just drop it out, yeah. And that keeps it out of your earbox.
Yeah.
And yeah, so with the catch can, what I did forget to tell you was I haven't seen them in here where we've actually had oil in the bottom of the airbox.
Alright.
But not only that, we've actually had oil come out of the seam in this pipe and actually running down the guard. So yeah, that's on an extreme one that was real bad. It actually filled the can up. It was inside 2 weeks, and the guy couldn't understand why oil was coming out of here. So obviously he had a dud motor. But yeah, so that's why we do run the can, is to help eliminate. Not that this is going to be, you know, maybe like that one, but shouldn't at this stage. But if you do see oil weeping down here, and that, you definitely know you've got a problem.
What's the problem with the oil in there? Why do you catch oil and stop it from getting in there?
Basically, if you obviously you have a snorkel on, and if you're out doing a bit of touring and you're in a dusty environment, you're whacking a little bit of dust in. If you've got oil and everything in here, and that oil is obviously, you know, it's vapour and then it turns to oil. So your airflow meter has a fine wire, and as soon as you get a bit of dust over that, and the oil is going to actually lay on the wire, then the dust gets on there, and then that'll throw all your fuel economy out, drop power off.
Won't be getting the right readings off.
Won't be getting the right readings off the sensor. So if we can keep the oil out of there, obviously that's going to help, you know, eliminate that problem. Problem is, you know, I've been harping on about with the catch can needing to go on. All those fumes and vapours, they actually come back through the intercooler as well. So the oil we'll talk about that can
accumulate in the airbox, it can actually accumulate in the intercooler as well. So when that starts baking on, that's lessening the efficiency of the intercooler. So obviously wet oil, intercooler, drying out, it's not doing its job. So that's why we want to run the catch can. Also with the EGR setup, when that's plumbed back through the oil and everything's plumbed back through the EGR, constantly over time, it actually, in the EGR setup on it, it actually becomes a sludge. So it actually can stop the actual butterfly in the EGR, depending on how it's set up, cause problems there with opening and shutting. So that can actually bring on check engine lights because it's not flowing and it's clogging up. So that's one other reason that we do run the catch can to keep all that out of there. We actually
call that oil air separator. The V8 engine we showed in our earlier segment on how it was breathing and puffing out the smoke. Basically your engine fumes, vapours, were getting puffed out of the collector and plumbed straight back into your air intake. Anyone can work out that putting hot fumes and vapours in with the cold air that you're trying to create with your snorkel top is making it less efficient. So obviously, if you can keep all that fumes and vapours, which turn to oil, heat out of the airbox, it's going to help with your performance. Any oil getting in on your intercooler, inside the intercooler, if you feel your intercooler how hot the aluminium gets, when it's sitting around with that heat in there, it's obviously the oil is then starting to line the intercooler and bake on, which then obviously will lessen the efficiency of the actual intercooler. The fumes and vapours, they get onto your airflow meter, combined with a little bit of dust, then you start having problems with fuel economy, making no boost. So consequently, that's why we like to see the can used. Okay, it has a side screen on it. Later on we'll show you how we actually mount it up on the car, where it sits, how to maintain it, how to empty it. So that's a strong recommendation that we suggest that you use. System itself that we're using on this particular customer's car is a full 304 stainless steel system. I'll go through the parts that are involved in it and what tailpipe options we have and what muffler options we have. So consequently, our top of the line systems that we build have their own individual dump pipe. This dump pipe's actually ceramic coated, so it's raw steel and it's coated in the ceramic coating. The reason for that is longevity, so you can put it on the vehicle and know you're not going to have to touch it for years and years. With the coating, it's coated inside and out, so it's keeping the heat inside the pipe and then obviously lessening the heat around the firewall and your feet, so it makes it more comfortable in the car. The other reason is when you've got 600 degrees, when on maximum top out of 10, 400, 300 in normal cruising conditions, that can fatigue normal mild steel tube. It'll actually end up crystallising and cracking up. So the extra expense is worth it for performance, for comfort and for longevity. We use the Pacific cap that's designed for the diesel engine. A lot more expensive than what are in most other systems. We have a flex, and I'll show you why we need the flex. Obviously on diesels they all have flexes. Connecting pipe, this actually goes up behind the cab to allow a toolbox. I'll show that when we do the fitted up version on the car. That's our Gen 2 muffler, which basically is our quieter version that we recommend for our caravan towers. Less noise, less drone, so consequently the exhaust gas is pushed to the front, then a vortex is created, it swirls the exhaust gases, which is pulling and obviously helping the turbo and engine pull the exhaust gas out. The little side covers are where our sound deadening material is, So as the exhaust gas is going around, the sound waves are taken out with the exhaust, with the packing that's inside these covers. This is our Gen 1 muffler, which still works on the same principle, but doesn't have the facility for the sound deadening, which is what the young guys like, because this absolutely puts out the best V8 note you've ever heard on a diesel. So consequently we sell a lot of them for the younger generation. They're just using their trucks for work and recreation. Tailpipes. We have three options. This tailpipe is what we run on most vehicles. Basically just follows the same route. This tailpipe has been designed for those extras that people put on their vehicles. As you can see, what we've had to do is move the tailpipe out, and that allows for airbags, Firestone airbag in particular, and also on the Toowoomba there's a chap that makes a coil spring helper that goes on the leaf spring and on the chassis rail. So this tailpipe has been designed to get around those two products, and then will still come out in the same area on the back of the vehicle. Then the third option is for those people that already have a rear toolbox or want to run a rear toolbox. This particular tailpipe is what we're going to be using on the install on this particular car that we've got today. And the reason being, right here where this tailpipe comes out is where the guy wants to run a rear toolbox. So consequently, that's the tailpipe we'll be using. So I'll go through the Okay, so not to bore you too much, this is the standard system. Obviously, you don't have to be an Einstein to see that it's only 1 3/4 roughly off the back of the turbo. Pipe work inside is very ugly and restrictive. You see the small pipe size. This should be only on maximum a 6-cylinder, more so a 4-cylinder, this pipe size. You'll see things like on the connecting pipes here, how it looks nice and fat, but actually it reduces right down on the flanges. And the tailpipe, it's all manual bend at the front here, but the tailpipe's all press bend, which is just what you do with a normal pipe bending, which you get at a normal exhaust shop. So consequently, when you see this system here, you can see the build quality, the large heavy duty hangers, and the fitment is designed for other products that you put on your vehicle. We always try and maintain, try and make it so it will fit with long range fuel tanks, other accessories. We try and get vehicles with these particular products on before we build a system to leave any problems down the track when you decide to put on the exhaust.